Why go hyper? Let's talk about how you can turn your casual studio to a hyper machine and why right now is the time to go hyper. We'll discuss how not only go through one casual game cycle throughout a 12 to 18 months period, but also do 12 to 18 hyper casual prototypes throughout 1 year, thus creating a new source of revenues for you and your business. Moria Ghosting Crazy Habs, head of publishing, will present how this transition can be done and what's the magic formula that makes it rewarding in every aspect: short production time, reduced expenses, and increased downloads and revenues. The session is in English, so if you want the translation in Portuguese, access the link for the translation here on the channel. So let's welcome Moria Goldstein. Hello, Moria, how are you doing?
Hi, guys. It's great to be here.
Okay, so the screen is all yours. Have a good presentation.
Thank you. Okay, 1 minute. All right. So, sometimes I think that my brain is a mess. Everywhere I go and everywhere I look at makes me wonder how I can turn it into a game. In hyper casual, everyday experience can become the next hit. Hi, everyone. My name is Moria, and I'm VP of Creative and Product Design at Crazy Labs. My journey at Crazy Labs started in 2014 when I joined the company as a studio manager. But in the last 3 years, I built and led the hyper casual publishing group. But recently, I started a new role in the company, which I'm grateful for, which will really allow me to go crazy with my ideas. I'm building a new team now, and our goal is to push the hyper casual boundaries to the next level. Crazy Lab is top 3 mobile game publisher, and our games just recently crossed 4 billion downloads. That's a respectful milestone. We have 110 million monthly active users, and our publishing group is actively working with over 350 studios to create amazing games for our players. Among our game, you can find tie-dye, ASMR slicing, phone case DIY, and even Run Sausage Run that was released back in 2017 and still kicking. In my talk today, I will talk about hyper-casual game and why I love it so much and where to start. Then I'll share with you my personal ideation process. I'll discuss my inspiration sources and how I deduct a trend and why it's important to pay attention, what's to pay attention when gamifying it. I will also show you how one idea can become 3 different games. Every year, people say that this is the last year of the hyper-casual boom, but somehow it feels like there are only more and more hits in this genre. There's explosion of content with more talents joining, innovation directions, and competitors, but it comes with more opportunities. Let's do a short recap. Hyper casuals are free-to-play games. They can be played by anyone, anywhere. They are short, satisfying with mass appeal, and usually uses one finger mechanic, sorry. And I consider myself a non-gamer, and hyper-casual games are made for non-gamer, and that was the thing that made me click with this game and really fall in love with them. The secret of hyper-casual success starts with hard work and failing a lot in order to win the big prize. With that in mind, you should always listen to the data, since that will be the lighthouse in the hyper ocean. Work fast and don't linger. If it's not working, kill it. If it works, that's awesome. You need to be even faster. In order to be the first one, you have to keep it original and unique in order to shine. Now that we understand that hyper-casual is the best party in town, I'd like to explain how you can make your first steps in this genre with just little resources and maybe try to form a new line of business to your studio. It doesn't matter if you're indie, work for hire, or any type of gaming studio. This can fit everybody. I think that the best combination of talent would be a very good Unity developer, a 3D artist, and a game designer. It can also be one that has it all. It doesn't matter. I hear from studios that from time to time, between big projects, they give their team some time to work on an indie project that they have or some game that the studio has do on their free time. So I'm saying, if you have these available people for a few weeks, instead of working on a dream game, try making hyper casual. Working with a publisher will include the following steps. You will pitch your game idea. Then you'll create the first build that will contain the minimum content that fits the marketability test. It can be either CTR or CPI test. Once you see that people actually downloading your game, you work on usage and ARPU tests to verify that your ROI is positive. Only then the game is ready for launch and scale, then it can top the charts. The bigger the ROI, the higher your game stays at the top charts and generate profit, of course. Let's compare two production cycles. We can take hyper casual and casual game, both released at the same time. An average casual game will take around, let's say, 18 months to produce, and the hyper casual will take somewhere around 8 weeks to produce. On the casual game, around 15 people worked, while on the hyper casual, only 3 people need to work. One brought 60 million downloads, while the casual games, let's say, brought only 20 million downloads. And I'm not saying that casual games can be super, super profitable. But what I'm trying to say is that this heavy production brings so many risks to the table. And in these days, we're trying to avoid redundant risks. So in these 8 weeks that you will take, you might be even able to produce 4 different prototypes that can turn into hyper-casual success. One hyper-casual success can really become a game changer, even when the user value is not that high like in casual games. Now, I'd like to take you on my personal behind-the-scene ideation process. As a game developer and a publisher, we are fighting for our players' attention. And that's why when we're hitting the road with a new idea for our games, our initial thought should be how to stand out beneath the thousands of games out there. How do we compete with the boobs and the pranks? First thing that we want to do is to make them stop scrolling, to pick us. As time passes, I feel that the level of stimulation of our players is increasing. We need to do more drastic stuff to shake them. Then once we caught their attention, we need to convince them to download, to choose us, open the game and then start playing. And last but not least, they actually need to love and come back the day after. Our players, they've seen it all, don't you think? As game publisher, we need to be even bolder than we were. We need to stand on the edge, be super innovative. And the same goes for game developers that need to reinvent the wheel every time. It's either in the game itself or in the user acquisition ads. As a woman, I have a great advantage when it comes to hyper-casual. Over 50% of all gamers and non-gamers in mobile are females, and close to 60% of hyper-casual players are females. And I think that by the time Facebook will release their next report, these numbers will increase. Since hyper-casual games are made for non-gamers, I'm lucky enough to create and design games for myself. Another advantage is that by being part of the target audience, it's easier for me to challenge myself, to check what made me stop scrolling and identify what does it for me. So hire women to your team. Where do I start? It's super basic and trivial, actually. It's the social networks. I'll be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and more. I basically scroll all the time. Then I stare at my daughters and friends playing games or watching YouTube. I learned so much by just watching them playing or watching something. I see what gets them excited and especially what made them stop and watch a certain video. I also show them sets of icons and ask them which game they would like to play. I talk to my teenage nephew and his friends and get their insights as well. In case it's not obvious, I'm playing all the games at the top charts, all hit mobile games, or any other games that I can put my hands on. I follow App Annie and other intelligence tool on, and it may seem creepy to you, but sometimes I can ask complete stranger what they are playing when I see them play, or just sneak a peek into their mobile device. I try to challenge my social media algorithm from time to time with new keywords and cool searches, because otherwise I'll still be watching 95% of the time videos of acrylic nails. I try to follow new content creators. I download games that I see in ads, and I track what I see what others are tracking and following and watching. I'm trying to dance between the AI and my eye. When I see a video that I like, I ask myself, why did I stop? Why am I sending it to my team? It's important that we will do this self-analysis and notice why did we stop. So then later we will be able to translate it into the video ad into the game. It's either something extremely unique, maybe something from different culture, maybe something disgusting or super funny, extreme thing that I can only imagine myself doing. In games, we can make the impossible possible, and that's what's so nice about it. When I'm on my ideation process, it helps me to categorize the source of inspiration, to cover all ground: sports, hobbies, occupations, animals, and of course, mechanics and control, and then I can mix and match. Now, let's say I suspect a certain video to be a good game candidate. What should I do? How can I tell whether this is a trend? If I start seeing a certain video again and again, coming from different sources, appearing on different social media accounts, maybe a TikTok challenge is related, that would be a good place to start. I'll check it all out. I'll check the amount of likes and share that each relevant video has. All that will usually point in a direction of a trend. But what really turns on the trend alerts in my head is when I see it not just online, but offline in real life. This is exactly what happened to me in tie-dye, which later became one of our top success stories. It just crossed 100 million downloads. When I watched the first DIY tie-dye video, I felt it looks super satisfying. It also reminded me of my childhood. By the second video, I thought to myself, that's so cool. But when I walked down the street and saw a tie-dye t-shirt on the store window, I knew that this is the hottest trend out there and I had to do something now. This is exactly what happened to me in acrylic nails. So we have our inspiration and we brainstorm on that and start planning the high-level design document and the video for the game. What is the best mechanic and control, and if we can see a clear, intuitive narrative to the game. The next step will be the same. We go back to the mother of all questions. Do people want to play my game? The 3-second rule. Players are most likely to decide if they are going to download the game within the first 3 seconds of the video ad. This rule should always guide us through the whole ideation and creation process. Your video ad should scream, I want to play this game. And I know I keep saying it over and over, but please challenge yourself. Show what you're planning to test to your friends and colleagues and ask them what they understand. Check their reaction, their response. See if they really get it. And I'm not saying that you should use cheap tricks. Your game should stand out and shine bright like a diamond on its own. The control and mechanics should be crystal clear. The goal and narrative should be intuitive and simple to understand. That's what hyper casual is all about. You also need to find that very pure moment of fun, the thing that makes the magic happen. We always talk about gamifying a trend, but you should also gemify it. Find the real gem because that's the moment of pure fun. This is the diamond in the rough, and it can make or break your game. For example, in tie-dye, it's that outcome that comes out so nicely, no matter what color or style you choose. In acrylic nails, it's that moment of the acrylic powder become into paste. This is gold. From that point, you'll keep playing because it's so simple to follow through and very creative. In hyper casual games, those short, small, and sometimes even trivial moments are just what your players are hungry for, a pure, fun to play moment. Don't we love examples? I have more. I love DIY videos. I can watch all types of DIY videos all day. And that's how I came up with the idea for DIY Makeup, the game that we recently launched. I love the fact that you're mixing element and creating your own makeup product. By the way, never tried it at home, naturally, and same goes for acrylic nails or tie-dye. I'm leaving the mess out. By the time that the game was launched, the trend slowed down a bit and the CPI struggled. But then I started to notice that there's a new related online trend, homemade face mask made out of fresh fruit. When I talked to a beauty specialist about it, she explained that makeup sales dropped 30% during COVID, while skincare increased by the same percentage. I suddenly understood what happened to our game, but I also knew what needs to be done next. The first thing that we did was to replicate the fruit mask into the video ad for DIY makeup, and boom, 200% increase in downloads. The next thing we did was to change the icon, and only then we added it into the game. This goes to show you that videos and trends are not only good for creating new game ideas, it can and should be part of your everyday work on existing games as well. Now, let's talk about our pitches. When my team and I are working on a game, we always pitch it, even if it stays internally. Working on your game's pitch will serve you in so many ways. It will help you to gather your thoughts. It will help you to see if you have a clear definition of the game, the control and mechanic. You'll be able to understand if your theme is strong enough. Making a mock-up or a short flow of the game will help you see if you have it all tied up. And once again, you'll be able to challenge yourself about your idea. And don't forget, when you send your pitch to your publisher, it should really stand out. Publishing manager get a lot of pitches every day. Your idea, as good as it be, should be clear, simple, and fun to read. I'll show you a good and a bad example. On the good example, you will see a very short and presentative pitch of tie-dye. You immediately get the idea. You can almost imagine how the game will look like. On the bad example, you will see the same pitch speaks about the same idea, but with so much text. It's neither inviting or simple. The idea can be magical, but when it's so hard to dive into, no one actually want to read it and do anything about it. So invest in mock-ups and save the words for later. A good mock-up will do all the work for you. In the creation part, one of the things that I love the most is when you can take single idea and gamify it in so many different ways. If this was an offline event and I could see you, I can ask you to come up with an idea for a trend, and then we can brainstorm together and gamify it in different ways. But since I can't, I brought you one of my favorite examples. We will take an old trend, the spinner fidget toy. Clearly was a hot trend back then. Everybody talked about it, play with it, shot tons of videos, and everywhere you go, you saw people spinning it. Now let's see what we can do with it. It can be an AO game, for example, with a regular joystick control when you are fighting your opponents and trying to win each round. It can be a simulation game. You're creating your own spinner. You'll choose the shape, colors, you'll be selling it, making money, and upgrading your spinner store. Or maybe it can be a runner, a draw runner, when you are drawing your path and avoiding obstacles. it is fascinating to see how each developer or game creator can take the idea and give their own touch to it. Remember that I said in the beginning of the talk that you should listen to data. And that's exactly what our Click dashboard is for. It's a self-serve platform with zero hassle from your side. It gives you full transparency with all the data that you need during your testing process. And you can also join our latest offer to create the next summer hit game and earn amazing reward. You can enter our website or just send me an email with your game ideas. Everything that we just discussed today is just part of our training program at Crazy Hubs. We are opening now our 5th hyper-casual hub, so you're more than welcome to apply and join us. This is a 3-month program, hyper-casual bootcamp, actually, in Israel, India, Turkey, Serbia, and Poland. So come and learn from our mentors how to kick ass in hyper-casual. So we covered a lot of materials today, but there are 3 things that I want you to take from this. Stop being afraid from trying new genres and jump into the hyper-casual pool. Challenge yourself and always ask yourself why you are watching this video and what made you stop scrolling, what made you download the game. Find the very pure moment of fun. Pinpoint the exact moment that tickled you, that made you go, wow, because that's the exact moment that you will need to gamify. And you know what? You should stop gamifying and start jamifying. Thank you so much. We can hear your questions now.
All right. Thank you. That was a great panel. So let's get to the Q&A. We have a question here selected from our crew. What is the best way to monetize a hyper-casual game?
What's the best way to monetize the hyper-casual games? With ads, rewarded videos, interstitials, and banners, of course.
All right. Okay, so let's get to the next question. How do you deal with quality assurance in such short amount of time during development?
Wow, that's an awesome question. My team and I are just starting to build this plan of quality assurance, because what's so nice about hyper-casual these days is that you see that the quality is increasing dramatically. Like every month, you see it gets better and better. So we are here to support and help our developers. We have a technical artist team. We have a UI expert to support our developers. We give them all the infrastructure and the support that they need in order to make sure that the level of the games will be awesome.
All right, let's go to our next question. Have you ever created a hyper-casual game with long life?
With what?
With a long lifespan.
Of course, yes. That's very surprising, actually, because people tend to think that hyper-casual games have like 3 months life or 6 months life, but with good live ops, and we have awesome live ops team here, games live for 3 or 4 years almost. I just mentioned in the beginning of my talk, Run Sausage Run, for example, from 2017, and it's still making lots of money. And Amaze that we released back in 2019, I think. So these games with good live ops can live surely for over a year.
All right. So let's go to our last question. What are the most common mistakes that the first-time explorers of this market commit? What are the most common mistakes?
The players or the developers?
The developers. The developers.
That's an awesome question. The biggest mistake would be to think that that they know better than the publisher, and to think that they will nail it faster than the reality. They need to come to this adventure with enough strength to lose. And you know what? What's worse than that they are falling in love with their games. And in hyper casual, you must not fall in love with your game, because data speaks, and that's what's important. If data say it's not good, drop it. And people waste time when they are falling in love with their games, and then they will be struggling and wasting so much pressure time instead of working on a new prototype.
All right. Well, our time is up. Moria, thank you so much for this panel. It was awesome.
Thank you so much. It was great being here.
All right. And well, for those that are watching, don't forget to share this link to our channel, tag your friends, well, spread the word about Big Festival 2021.
Big Festival 2021, the biggest games festival in Latin America.